class. Today we're going to talk about Chapter 4, Section 3, Congruent Triangles. Our objectives today are to name and use corresponding parts of congruent polygons and to prove triangles are congruent using the different definitions of congruent. So let's take a look at this picture here. We have three different hearts and they're all facing different directions, but if two geometric figures have exactly the same shape and the same size, they are congruent. So that's saying it doesn't matter which direction it's facing. If I picked those up and I twisted them all so that they face the same way, so if I take that and twist it so it faces the same way, and this one too, they all end up being congruent. They're the same size and the same shape. So congruent polygons. Remember, a polygon is going to be a lot of different shapes: triangles, squares, rectangles, trapezoids. Those all fall into those polygons. Two triangles are congruent if and only if their corresponding sides and angles are congruent. So remember we talked about angles, and we're going yesterday about making sure that we label them by their vertex. So we have angle A, and I'm going to match it up with the one that also has two angle markings in it, and which will be angle H. Okay, angle B had one angle marking, so if I look at my second one, angle J also does. And my third one, angle C, and then that has three angle markings along with angle K has three. If I'm looking at my sides, remember we name our sides by two letters and the segment sign above it. So AB. So the important thing that's super, super important here is with my corresponding sides that they need to be written in the same order. So in my first triangle, I went from A to B. So from two angle lines to one. I also need that to do that in my second triangle, from two angle lines to one, so from H to J. I also have B to C, so I went from one angle line to 3, so I'm going to go J. From one angle line to K, which has 3. Then I'm going to go A to C, so two angle lines to 3. And if you notice here, it doesn't matter which direction I go, the order can be changed on each triangle, but they need to be the same order from one triangle to the other triangle. So I went from 2 stripes to 3, and I'm going to go from 2 stripes to 3, H to K. And those are my segments. So my congruent statement, I can say that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle let's try that again. Triangle HJK. Now, if we look, A goes with H, B is going to be congruent to J, and C is going to be congruent to K. And so we need to keep in mind that this is a valid statement only because they're in the same order. So a special note is valid statements occur only when the corresponding vertices, so remember vertices is a plural of vertex, corresponding vertices are in the same order. And so that's like what I did before. I drew the lines to make sure that they're in the same order. All right, so let's put that to use. Name all congruent angles, congruent sides, and then state the congruent statement. So if I look at my angles, I have angle A is congruent to angle W because they have the same angle markings of 1. Angle B is congruent to angle X. And I'm going to have you guys finish those last two congruent angles for tomorrow. And sides, again, remember, I'm going to go from A to B. Sides are named with 2 letters. And my segment sign over, I'm going from 1 angle marking to 2. So WX. Let's do another one. From B to C with my segment sign. So from 2 angle markings to 3. So I'm going to go from X to Y. And I'm going to have you guys finish those sides congruent statements for tomorrow. So our congruent statement for this entire thing is going to be poly A, B, C, D and I'm going to call it poly because it's not a triangle, is congruent to poly, and now remember it needs to be in the same order. So A was with W, then X, Y, and Z. So my A matches W, B was with X, C was with Y, and D was with Z. They need to be in the same order to be considered a validly true congruent statement. All right, so let's put that to practice with this problem number 2. So in the diagram, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DFE. Find the values of X and Y. So here's what I like to do. I'm looking at this picture, and those two triangles don't look the same size and shape, but they are because we are given that they are that statement. So remember, it's not all about looks. So if we're looking here, A goes with D, and so I like to keep this in order for me by writing it underneath. B goes with F, and C goes with E. So now I have that visual representation for me. So I have to find X and Y. I'm looking here, and on my CB side, that has X and Y. So I have to find at least one of them first. So I'm going to find Y first. So I know that 8Y minus 5 is equal or congruent to my B angle, which is that 99. So if we go ahead and solve that, we get 104. We divide both sides by 8, and Y is going to equal 13. So just because X is listed first in my answer doesn't mean that I always have to find X first. Sometimes, as in this case, I had to find Y first. All right, so now I know that X is equal, or Y is equal to 13, so I can plug that in right there. So 2 times 13 plus X is equal to, and now I have to find the side BC. So B to C is equal to 38.4. Go ahead and take my 2 times 13. I get 26 plus X equals 38.4. Subtract my 26 and I get X equals 12.4. And we went ahead and found X and Y. Okay. Next, we have this diagram, and you have to find X and Y with this diagram. And I'm just going to get you started by lining up my vertices. So R goes with T, and then S goes with V, so this is kind of tricky, and V goes with S. So I want you to go ahead and finish for tomorrow finding the X and the Y for this for us. All right. Third angle theorem. It states if two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of a second triangle, then the third angles of the triangle are also congruent. We talked in 4.1.4.2 notes that triangles, all their angles add up to 180. So we know if two of them are the same, then we know that this third angle, A, is going to be congruent to L. So let's go ahead and do problem 4 together. Find the value of X. Well, I see that A and F are both right angles. And here I have my congruent markings, so I know my last two are going to be congruent. So I can write 2x is equal to 80. So therefore my x is 40 degrees. Number 5 we're going to talk about in class tomorrow. And then here's problem 6, so I want you to finish problem 6 for tomorrow. And there's that problem 5 we're going to be taking a look at. So come with those just very few problems done, and we'll talk about those when we go through the notes.